Welcome to Cheating Stories Star. Today's story follows a husband who spent years hiding one life-changing secret, only to discover what his marriage was truly built on. Let's begin.
My name is Mason. The phone rang at 6:14 on a rainy Tuesday. My lawyer never called that early. When I answered, he didn't waste a single word. "She's filed for divorce." I stared through the kitchen window as rain crawled down the glass. There was no surprise, only confirmation. For 3 years, I had hidden the truth about my wealth from my wife. Not because I enjoyed lying, because I wanted one thing money could never buy: the truth. And that morning, the truth finally called me back. When I met Olivia, I drove a 12-year-old pickup truck. She believed I repaired industrial machines for a small company. That part wasn't a lie. I owned the company, along with 3 others. My accountant suggested I never reveal my net worth until I knew her heart. I'd seen what money did to people before. Smiles became investments. Promises became contracts. Love became negotiation. So I rented a modest apartment, wore inexpensive clothes, lived like an ordinary man. When Olivia married me, I wanted to believe she'd chosen me, not my balance sheet. For a while, I believed it. Then tiny cracks appeared. Every dinner became a comparison. My friend's husband bought her a new SUV. My cousin just moved into a bigger house. Sometimes I wonder why you're satisfied with so little. I smiled every time. Inside, I counted the distance growing between us. The arguments changed. They weren't about love anymore. They were about status. She stopped introducing me proudly. Instead, she joked about my small ambitions. Friends laughed. I laughed too. Silence is useful. It lets people reveal themselves. Then one evening she came home glowing. Not happy, interested. She suddenly cared about expensive restaurants, luxury vacations, private clubs, things she'd never mentioned before. I asked why. She shrugged. "I've realized I deserve more." The words stayed with me. Not because they were cruel, because they sounded rehearsed. I hired no private investigator. I trusted patterns more than accusations. She started staying late every Thursday. Her location history never matched her explanations. One afternoon, she forgot her smartwatch at home. Messages kept appearing. One name repeated: Victor. The previews were enough. You deserve someone successful. Soon you won't have to pretend anymore. I didn't open another message. I already knew enough. Instead, I investigated Victor. Successful real estate broker, luxury cars, designer suits, public charity events. Exactly the life Olivia had been dreaming about. She hadn't fallen in love. She'd fallen upward. Or so she believed. Weeks later, she sat across from me with practiced sadness. "I don't think this marriage is working." I nodded. "I agree." She seemed surprised. "I've already spoken to a lawyer." "So have I." She blinked. Perhaps she expected begging, anger, questions. I offered none. She packed her belongings within days. Before leaving, she whispered something I'll never forget. "I need someone who can give me the life I deserve." The front door closed. The house became wonderfully quiet. A month later, the divorce hearing arrived. My attorney placed several documents on the table: business ownership records, investment portfolios, property deeds, company valuations. Olivia frowned. Then she noticed my name, again, and again, and again. She looked at me as if she'd never seen me before. "What is this?" I answered calmly. "My life." Her attorney looked stunned. "So, you've been worth over $60 million this entire time." I nodded once. Olivia's face lost every trace of confidence. "You lied to me." I met her eyes. "No. I protected the only thing I couldn't replace." Silence swallowed the room. Then came the question she feared asking. "You knew about Victor?" I knew enough. Her hands trembled. She finally understood. She hadn't left a poor husband. She had abandoned the man she claimed to love, because she believed someone else had more. The settlement changed instantly. Our prenuptial agreement signed. Years earlier, without much thought, protected every asset I'd owned before marriage. She left with exactly what the law required. Nothing more. Money couldn't rewrite choices. Outside the courthouse, she ran after me. "Mason, please." I stopped walking. She cried, apologized, blamed pressure, blamed insecurity, blamed everyone except the person in the mirror. Then she asked the question she'd carried since the courtroom. "Why didn't you tell me who you really were?" I smiled for the first time in months. "Because I wanted to know who you really were." I walked away before she answered. Some questions deserve silence. People assume my greatest victory was protecting my fortune. It wasn't. Money can always be earned again. Peace is rarer. Looking back, I don't remember the houses, the companies, or the numbers in my accounts. I remember the moment she chose wealth over loyalty, without realizing she already had both. She thought she was chasing a richer future. Instead, she walked away from the only fortune that was ever truly hers. And by the time she learned the truth, she had already made herself the poorest person in the room.